Hello and welcome to the new Symantonic offices. Have you heard about this guy? This is the new Gnome 2, an improved version of the metronome. And the packaging is so strong that I can put my whole weight on it. I could even stand on it and not a scratch. And the device that's inside it, even better. But this video is about firmware 4.0 to show you all the new things. So let's get started, shall we? Here is our setup for the day. So we have a Gnome 2, beautiful brand new Gnome 2 with a USB-C port. The rest is pretty much the same as it was on the metronome. You're going to be able to hear its metronome, which sounds like this. And this output is the analog clock output number 1, which sounds like this. And then we have our MPC here, which I can start by pressing this. Connected to the Gnome, we have 2 pedals, which are connected via this adapter, which is TRS to 2TS. And we could have also used a pedal like this one, which simply has 2 switches and a TRS plug instead of the 2 pedals and the adapter. So firmware 4, one of the biggest changes is the list of the settings, which we can go through right now. So we start with the click 1 as before, which is the sound of the metronome, click 2, volume 1, volume 2. Then we have the time signature, which I will get in further on. This is set to 4/4 for now. Input is the same as before. Autoplay. Then we have the analog mode, which can be con for constant. So this was previously called on. Then follow, which means follow play. And again, this name is reused in other places in the settings. So I'm going to put back to con. Then analog speed 1 and 2, which have a few more options, which we're going to go through later on. LED is just this LED, it's the same as before, so it can be on or off. The brightness, and then we have the advanced list. So the way it works is we press this button. This is the basic list, and then when we choose advanced and press this, changes color. Now we're in the advanced lists, and to go back to the basic list, you need to exit the settings and re-enter them, and now you're back in the normal lists, in the basic list. So the advanced lists, we have some of the settings that were moved basically. So this is the pedal, which is pedal 1, which is this one. Pedal 2, which is this pedal. Pedal type, which was there before, sustain or latching. These are sustain pedals. This is a latching pedal. Then we have mute, the reset mode, which was there before, play 1 and play 2, which are the configuration of these 2 buttons. So there's the play button 1, play button 2. Mid, which is the configuration of the MIDI output. Then we have the configuration of MIDI output 2, which is the speed of this output. And the last thing is the preset lists. So let's look at time signatures, which was a strongly requested feature for 4.0. So if we go in the list of the settings, the previous setting was called bar, is now called signature. And it's currently set in 4/4, as you can hear. And I can change that all the way down from 1/2 to 32/2 to 32/4. And then to 8/8, all the way to 32/8, and then this means 16. So for example, this is 16/16. And the tempo hasn't changed, only the metronome. You can hear if I start the MPC, sounds like this. And next up, we have the tempo presets. We can finally save tempo and time signature as a preset on the device. So let's first look at how to save the presets. So we go into settings, go all the way to the end of the lists on advanced, go in the advanced setting lists, all the way to the end of the list, and we have the presets configuration. In here, we're going to have a list from 1 to the last presets that's saved. So in this device currently I have 16 presets saved, and then the last one is going to say empty 17. So that's preset 17, which is empty, which is not configured. To save a preset, you simply hold down the button, and then it will say save. Very quick and very easy, and it will save the current tempo. So right now 119, and the current time signature, which is 88. So actually, let's change this to 44. So now we have our preset 16, which was 119 in 88. And let's change this to 140 in 44. So now we go to preset 17 and we save it. To apply a preset, you can hold down the tap tempo button and then rotate. So now we preset 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's go to 16, for example, which we had before. And now we're 119 in 88. I'm going to change this to 17, which is 140 in 44, and so on. If something is playing, so say I'm in preset 16, but the MPC is playing, you don't want to change the preset right away, and the machine does that for you. So you change to preset 17, and it changes only on the next bar. Same thing the other way. And as you saw, the 3 dots would blink to indicate that a tempo preset is about to be applied. You can also use pedals to control presets. So in the advanced setting list, we have the pedal 1 and the pedal 2. And right now they're both set as preset and preset. That means that one pedal will go down in preset, so 15. And the other pedal will go up. Very easy. If we set one pedal as a preset, so let's say that we remove pedal 2, set that to off, so this is removed. One pedal can still control both back and forth presets. So a simple press, we switch to the next preset, and a long press will go down. Simple. Next one, and previous one. And another way to apply presets is to send a MIDI command over the USB cable to the device to apply whichever presets you want. So you can configure your machine to do that. And next up, we have the new analog outputs options. So before, we could only send a clock on the analog outputs, which was a clock between 1 ppqn and 24 ppqn. And now we have more options. A run gate, so that will be high when it's playing and low when it's not playing. Then we have the start, which is a start trigger, which is sent when you start playing and when you stop playing. And res is the same as start, but only sends when you start playing and when you resync. And then we have the next value, which is 2, it goes all the way to 99, and these send a trigger every beat. So it sounds like this. So this will be basically 1 every 1 beat. Then we go all the way to 24 ppqn, and this is every 2 beats. 1, 2, 1, 2, or you can do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes, you got the idea. And next up, we have the famous mute follows play function and the configuration of those 2 buttons. This is a simple feature, but I think is particularly useful. So it's one of the advanced settings, and we have the mute configuration, which could be normal or follow play. If it follows play, that means it will automatically unmute whenever something is playing. Like this. You can see it unmutes. But then you think, why do I need this button at all? And that's why you can reconfigure this button to be, so that's the play button number 2, to be either act as mute or act as play. When this act as play, it always plays on the output number 2, which is the MIDI cable connected to the MPC. And we can do the same for the first play button. So right now it's acting on both. So this will start both of them. Or we can say act only on MIDI output 1. And this will start the MPC. So another minor feature that was highly requested is the ability to stop the MIDI clock outputs on out 1 and 2. And this is done in the settings. It's also an advanced setting, and it is called mid. So that's the MIDI clock outputs, which can be either constant. So right now it's sent constantly on the outputs. And we can see that if I press play on the MPC and I try to change its tempo, I cannot change its tempo. It's still stuck to 120 here. But if I change this to follow, now the MPC has its own tempo, as you can hear. And I can change it by just turning the wheel. Because no clock is sent here until I press play, and now it's synced to this. When I stop it, it goes back in standalone mode. And the last setting in the same category is called MI2, which is the MIDI output 2 speed. So this can be reduced. So 1 means full speed. And then when we change it, that means a half. That means the speed sent here is half the speed. So if I press play now, the MPC is going to play at 60, as you can hear. And you can go all the way to 6th and 8th if you want to make things very, very slow. Another small feature about the pedal is the ability for the pedal to resync. So if you press play, you start your machine, and if your machine for some strange reason is out of sync, you can hold down the button and resync it on the next bar. But the pedal can now do the same. If I go in, say, pedal 1, and I set it to play, for example, this is pedal 1. Pedal 1 can start and stop, as always, but you can now also send resync by holding it down. Simple. And the last small addition to firmware 4, the autoplay function, which before only had on or off, but now you can decide which outputs you want to affect. This is both the MIDI outputs, but also the analog outputs, because this plug is stereo, so it has left, which is counted as 1, and right, which is counted as 2. And that's it, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you're looking forward to firmware 4 as much as I am. A few notes about the future improvements. We have metronome improvements, reduce volume for 8th notes and 16th notes. We have a better integration with USync, ability to control your DAW from the gnome, and the ability of using autoplay feature when you have 2 gnomes connected together. On that note, I am going to enjoy the beautiful sun. Goodbye.